Good morning. This is the regular Finance Committee meeting of the Cambria Community Services District. Today is September 15th, 2025, and it is 10 o'clock. So welcome. We have one person. Oh, we need attendees. Let's see, who are they? He's the guy. We have someone who's doing a presentation, yeah. So, but who else is attending?
Scott, Brittany Tran, and Rochelle Benjamin.
I think that's Scott McCann. Can you let him come in?
I unmuted him.
Oh,
so he
are
can-
you there, Scott?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. And who are the other two people?
Brittany Tran, who's a part of the presentation
Okay.
today, and Rochelle Benjamin.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Scott, you will not be able to vote because we didn't go through this whole legal thing saying that you could vote. But I'm so glad you're there. And can he make comments?
No.
If you have a comment and it's really important, then we'll ask, we'll find out from our attorney. But so.
They're rarely important.
I think from the time that I had to call in from San Diego when I was watching my mom was, I was able to listen.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to comment either.
Okay, great. All right. So, so we're called to order. We have a quorum. We have 4 people here in-house, and we also have 1 person on Zoom. So we do have a quorum. Chair report. I don't have a specific chair report, except I do want to say something that I think is really important. When you have questions about on the agenda or documentation or that you need something, please contact me first. Because Haley gets all kinds of emails and stuff all the time. And so if you contact me, then I'm probably going to be able to answer those questions. But if not, then I can contact either Haley or Matthew. Okay, so in the future, please do that. Okay, next on the agenda, secretary nomination and election. So is there anyone at this point who is interested in doing that job? And that's why you all got a copy of the format or yeah, and you saw my email, I did explain that. But so that you get that whole document and you just fill in the blanks, so it's not that big of a deal. So is everyone saying no?
Yes.
Okay, sounds like everyone's saying no. Then let's go on to the next agenda.
We could let Scott comment now.
That's where you nominate him.
Yeah,
Second day.
that's right. And he doesn't get to say anything.
That'll learn him.
I was just gonna say, since I'm a lawyer, as a general principle, if a participant in a meeting can see and hear the other participants in
Mhm.
a setup like this. My understanding is at least in the business world, he's able to participate in the meeting, like in a board of directors meeting of a
Yeah.
corporation.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if it's a big deal, I don't expect it's a big deal today, but that may
Yeah.
be something we wanna look into.
Well, we can do a big,
Yeah, so there's specific, so for the Brown Act, COVID, right, there was an exception to the Brown Act to where during COVID, you were able to remote, and they removed that section with allowing it to remote into a board meeting to actually participate under limited circumstances, which was an emergency, severe illness, something of that nature. And so there's a specific section of the Brown Act you have to read. He has to state things alone in his room. There's no one in the house other than himself, various different things.
he has to have posted the agenda.
The agenda posted.
Yeah,
under those circumstances, then he could participate. I'll double check, but I think even if he's not voting, if he's participating, perhaps swaying votes in any way is why he's probably not allowed to participate. So he's just able to, you know. So that, yeah.
But we're really glad that you're sitting there. Okay. Committee member communications, anything from you all?
Is this from the subcommittees?
Nope, that's
Oh.
the next agenda.
Okay.
I do have some questions about August expenditures. Is now the time to ask those questions?
No, that would be under public comment, I guess.
So was that from the board meeting that we just had?
Well, actually, it was from the notes from the board meeting. I was not able to attend or listen to it.
Yeah, because it's not on this agenda for
Correct.
finance committee.
Yeah, if you want to make a comment, but we can't discuss it or, that,
So in the future, I need to let you know I have comments so they can be put on the agenda. Is that? how
yeah,
it
that
works?
way, yeah, if you want to discuss something, you let me know.
I got it.
Usually I ask him, but this was a really small agenda, so, after last month, it was like, oh, well. So, yeah, so so just let me know and I'll put it on the agenda so we can discuss it.
Okay,
And then Denise can be prepared.
I get it. Okay.
Any other committee member communications?
From your brief, discussion on the meeting that you had with the folks from the Friends of the Ranch
Yeah.
Hands, can you share anything? Is this where you would share something about that?
There really isn't anything to share. What I will say, I could do that under chair report. What I will say is that we had a really good meeting.
Good.
I made, scones that were awful, and so I threw them away. But everybody was very much, I mean, you want to make public comment about just that we had a good meeting, I guess.
Speak of the board.
Right, I forgot you're not just a public member. But it was, we have a good start and we have some ideas.
Thank you.
Hey, any other committee member communications?
I had to
Yes,
ask
sir.
you about that issue that I wrote to Matthew about.
Yes.
Is that, it's really just informational. I'm curious. Can I ask that question now?
You,
Forgot what the issue was.
well, you didn't respond.
An issue.
Which
Yeah.
which I understand.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is basically, do we currently have a good count? I know all the new meters are installed. Do we have a good count of the meters that are not currently operating or functioning properly? And can we identify those addresses, those meters by address,
When you say not operating,
That they don't,
not transmitting
Right.
properly?
oh, okay, so. I mean, I have Cody in the other room, but my understanding is that we have got all of the meters in the district upgraded to AMI. However, there's about 80-ish in the district, 80-ish.
Yeah.
That have to be manually read because of the area in which they're in cellular wise. So even AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, none of the cell companies can transmit for those meters. So those are being manually read.
that's not yours.
That's, right, as far as the district knows, except in those areas where cell service isn't available, close to 100% of the units are transmitting properly.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now with that data that comes in from the AMI meter will allow us to analyze whether or not the brass body itself is failing. So it can tell us whether, basically the other parts of the meter are working properly, and then that gives us an alert. We go in and we start changing the actual whole body, itself, which we did.
They have had some, there have been, I don't have a number off the top of my head. I could text Miriam. They have had to troubleshoot some meters as far as, I don't know what the issue were. Was it not transmitting? Was it, whatever. So they have been taking those as they come. I don't think it's an exceptional amount.
I think that pretty much answers. the
Okay,
question.
great.
Seems like it's high degree of functionality.
Yeah, well, especially after we just went through the upgrades. I mean, before that, we were talking.
No, that was really my question about with the upgrades, are we confident that the vast majority of the newly installed meters are transmitting data
Yeah.
properly,
Yeah.
except in areas where cell service is not available?
No, we're very, the confidence level is at the highest it's been in terms of water meter
That
reading
answers my
ability.
question.
Yeah, and additionally, these systems are now alerting not only the district, but also the property owner of any late leaks of almost instantly. And so that's already saved people, I would say, quite a few dollars from us who were manually reading these meters. So those leaks could go on for a month, you know, until we did the read and realized that their usage has gone way up, which usually indicates a leak. Now we're getting those reads live every 15 minutes.
That automatically goes out. That if you have, if you get that indication, then that automatically goes out.
From the district side, we'll notice it.
Yeah.
From the consumer side, you would set it up on your portal, but I think
I don't
there's a
think I
couple
have.
folks that have ion water set up.
I have iron water.
Did you know if you get an alert right off the bat, or did you have to set your alert?
I didn't have any leaks.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm getting to. Whatever it is, I don't even know what iron water is.
Ion water, yeah.
Whatever, I don't know what
Is that
that is.
an app?
I am water then.
Let me tell you what's gonna happen.
Okay.
It has not been, why don't you tell us?
Yeah. So R&I, Resource Infrastructure Committee meeting, actually did a very well put together presentation on ion water, which is a website based platform. I believe there's also an app that you can download on your phone, iOS and or Google. And you enter in your account number and it'll let you go in there and play with different alerts and settings on, you know, your threshold tolerance for water usage. So, you know, and then it will alert you. So Ion Water is the web-based platform for both the consumer and the district. We just wrapped up some of these commercial meter installs. And now we're integrating all of that information into our Tyler and Badger system from a district perspective. We're almost there, and then we will do a very large broadcast to the community that this system is up and running. This is how you sign up, and you can do it. What I haven't been broadcasting is most of you probably can go in there and sign up because we've got some of those integrations already complete. I'd say we're about 80 or 90%. So, you know, Chairwoman Scott, Director Dean, they already went in there on the back door and signed up, you know, and they're able to see that. And you folks probably could do it as well.
Okay.
We just haven't rolled that out because there are a few of these folks that have radio reads and the commercial side. So we're just like holding off by a week or two to make sure the integration is 100% complete, and then we'll blast this out.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a flume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
very much so.
notifies you when you're water.
Mhm.
So will, maybe it's already included, but will it be, for me to know that it's going to work for me, I need to have like a test, just a test sent?
no,
So-
you just go on, you'll go online.
No, well, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But to know that it's gonna work, is there a way for the system to take and send me a test message that says that this is just a test to tell you that you're connected and this will be where it comes from, so that if I don't recognize where it's coming from, I'm probably gonna take and spam it, and then I'll never know that it ever came in at all. But is there some way to show that it's
Do we
working?
get an email or
Yeah.
something like that?
I'll have to double check, but there's an actual, I'm assuming what you would. The best part about this
Show me.
is the app on your phone.
Yeah.
So you would download the
Right on
app
the
on your
end.
phone. And then once you get all your account information in there.
Yeah.
It will start alerting you and sending you messages.
And all you have to
Okay.
do is
And-
just,
Miriam, about
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
potential test message.
and you just tap on that and it takes you right to your thing.
And it'll tell you whether you're, you know.
Tells you how many gallons you used in your shower 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a setting where on that app, you probably could put the lowest amount of water you've ever used in
Yes.
life. And just use the water normally as you
Receive an
do,
alert.
and it sees an alert comes.
Okay.
So you wanna
Alright.
see, you wanna test alert.
I want to test
Okay,
it.
I will ask that question.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
One last
Any-
question.
yes, please.
Is there a fee? Do you pay for
No.
ion water? Okay,
It's
The district
free.
actually covers it,
okay,
the fee for the
Great.
system, the cellular service, all of that.
thanks.
And
It's covered by the ratepayers.
And it's,
It's nice when I say we cover it.
yeah, okay. All right. Ad hoc committee is there any public comment about any of those agenda items? They were kind of,
Jumble.
yeah. No, nobody online? Okay. Let's go to ad hoc subcommittee reports, and we do have an ad hoc subcommittee that wishes to do a report.
We do. Shelley and I had an opportunity to talk about our committee, which is the one relative as to what to do with the vet hall. And so, as we started kind of bouncing ideas off each other on this, the balloon got very large with how many things there is to talk about on this. What constraints, because there will be constraints as to what can happen. To be things that issues with the county's facility down the street.
What is
Depending
that?
on what we do with this, it will impact, what's the name?
The Jocelyn
Not
Center.
Jocelyn Center.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not a Jocelyn Center person, but it could affect that. And so we need to be in discussions we see needing to be in discussions with them with how we were taken. Well, we don't
Could
know,
somebody-
see, we didn't know that. Now you're telling me no,
You-
and that's okay that we don't
Yeah,
have
you
to.
don't need to talk with them about that. I mean, if you want to get more information, you can, but they
I mean,
don't,
that's absolutely what we have to do, yeah.
but there's no, they don't have any control over.
Oh, no,
what
no, I
happens.
understand that.
Okay.
It's like not wanting to compete for the same events and stuff, not to make
And they
sure-
have a brand new kitchen.
Oh,
Right.
terrific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Jocelyn Center is our direct competition.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's how we
Yeah.
do that.
Okay,
And so the more we talked about it, the bigger the scope got on all of this. And then kind of in light with what we saw last meeting with the turnout of people that are so invested in the ranch, and that's a great thing, that
Yeah.
the community does that. But we thought that perhaps what would be better than Shelley and I sitting down and coming up with a plan was to take and set up some kind of a citizens committee to what to do, because this is the community structure.
Mhm.
Have a citizens committee to take and bring this all together. We would help, at least initially, if they didn't want us anymore to be in charge of conducting meetings or something, we'd gladly back away, but we could be taken to conduct the public meetings to get people's input and try to find people that want to do some of the legwork, because there's a lot to do. I mean, I want to talk to FEMA. There's a lot of things, avenues that we need to pursue because we don't have the money. We aren't gonna have serious money to fix this building. We have to accept that. And there's issues that we probably don't even know about yet. Like I just heard something about foundation potential problems. And so anyway, so what we're thinking is that rather than the two of us cook something up and then try to market it, take and get the community invested in the program into their building and what they would like to take and do with it, and proceed on that path rather than just the two of us try to come up with every idea. We're both very smart, especially Shelley, but we can't think of everything that the community could think of as to what to do with the building and make it more useful, because it's right in the middle of town and it has virtually, other than a couple of meetings a month, there's virtually no use. And the Friday
Mhm.
garage sale or farmer's market, thank you, outside. So that's kind of what where we're at. Now to let Shelley comment to you.
Well, I think the first step is, it's really hard to compete with the Jocelyn Center. There's so many issues. This building is in disrepair. And so we need to figure out what kind of grants, what kind of, government subsidy we can get to bring this up to a standard where we could rent it out for events. I mean, the roof needs to be replaced. The ceiling tiles look like there's some mold in there. Is there asbestos in there? You know, the foundation. We have to put a lot of money into this building. So before we can come up with ideas to bring people in here, I think we need to address the problems with the building itself.
Okay. So just let me clarify
Okay.
the role of the ad hoc. Okay? Number one, you cannot have public meetings. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to give, when you come, you need to have a very clear direction, a plan about what we need to do. And then we can do that as a committee. As far as putting it on our agenda,
Okay.
public people can come and talk about it. Getting money is not really in the realm of the ad hoc or this committee. Anything more than recommending that we, maybe you find certain grants, that then we let, Matthew know that the staff can go after those grants. So your role is not to facilitate that, but to make a plan so that the staff can follow up on it.
The only problem I have with that is that I don't know what our limitations are. And for us, it's gonna take a lot of time to come up with just even to do that.
Yeah.
And so, and I was on a prior committee and we spent a lot of time working on it, only to take and make a presentation to the Board of Supervisors and have it basically thrown out. And
What committee?
when we were looking for financial alternatives to find additional finances
For?
for Cambria.
So this was what I believe was,
It was revenue.
enhancing
Revenue.
ways to enhance revenue within the district.
Oh, okay,
And that came about with the discussion of, incorporation,
yeah,
what
Mhm.
then spurred the ranch management conversation.
yes,
What was the other one? Assessments, I think, assessment center. So what I did hear that I think, we could talk about, Chairman Scott, is the ad hoc can still meet with community members, right? You're not necessarily holding a committee meeting,
right,
but if you wanted to get stakeholders into the community, Lions Club is a prime example. I've had multiple conversations with the Lions Club about that there's funds there that they might want to put towards the events hall, to the community park. So you could bring in some of those stakeholders and as an ad hoc
yeah,
on your own and just say, hey, we want to bounce some things off you, or hey, what do you think about this or that? But it would be a little difficult for you to do like a town hall.
yeah.
You know, but I think you could get a group of 10, 15 people, you know, and use the Vets Hall. We can set that up if you want, or the Jocelyn Center.
But it wouldn't be a public meeting, it wouldn't be something where you have,
It's not agendized.
No.
There's no
Yeah.
anything like that.
So that would mean that we couldn't use CCSD to take and advertise that we were going to have a meeting here.
I would be careful to, tell you what I will do, is I will describe this, as part of your ad hoc report. But I don't know,
I mean, if we really were gonna do that, so to where the district would advertise it, it would be
yeah,
agendize
Yeah.
this meeting, and we would just have an agenda item, which is, you know, obtain community feedback on.
Yeah.
You know, Vets Hall maintenance and suggested upgrades, and see if we could get anybody to attend the meeting
Yeah.
and provide comment.
Yeah.
I think the offline conversations with the ad hoc and community members, it would be just that, you know, try to find a time and a place to meet where you could get some folks to come in and provide their input on what they think we should do, you know, with the Vets Hall.
Yeah. But getting the word out to everybody.
well, you don't wanna do everybody,
I do.
I know you do,
I do.
but not yet.
Okay.
Okay, is what I'm saying, is
Yeah.
not yet. Initially, you wanna gather information, and that's really what an ad hoc does, is to gather information.
But I need input from the community as a whole, or we need,
Eventually.
whatever I say, I mean, we.
Yeah, but eventually we will. But that's not how the ad hoc needs to start.
Hmm.
Yes,
Every time I read an article about the hall in Cayucas that they
Yeah.
just overhauled, I see some similarities to this facility.
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be interesting to talk to the people. I don't know who even owns that, or I assume
Cayucas,
is it a city? I mean, I don't
No.
know.
No,
I don't know who owns it. I know it had a big fundraising component to it, private. I don't know how much, I don't know how they could have done it without some public money because it was an $11 million project, as I understand.
Aren't they considered a historical landmark, and so they got
It is.
funding that way?
Mm.
Yeah, that helped.
Well, there's a few different, I'll have to revisit it, but I believe Cayucas is a county service area, right? They're not incorporated, they're not a special district. So a lot of what was paid for in terms of that's all renovation was county funded. So there's some help, a lot of help from the county. I believe a grant was a part of that. So we're similar but different,
Yeah.
in terms of being a special district. And we won't have the county support for that's all.
Right.
Because,
Because we own it and the county doesn't,
well, the
And the-
CSD is exactly or CSA is not exactly the county. I guess they control it for sure. But
What's
it's really
CSA?
community services, area or so, I don't know. I mean, it's primarily for the benefit of the people in the area, I think, but the boundaries of the CSA, but I don't know. It just occurs to me that a chat with the people that drove that
Mhm.
project, might produce some useful information. They raised a lot of private money to do that project too.
which is one of the things the ad hoc could do.
Mhm.
Well, we would recommend that we go after private money or that donations.
Well, you're kind of getting ahead of yourself, because what you have to do is you have to start with looking at those sources out there that can give you information. Ad hocs are really to start and you gotta have you're saying all these wonderful things, but do you have a plan? This is what we want to do.
Because I don't feel that we can build a plan until we get the community involved.
Not
Because-
yet,
No,
not yet.
So I think what you're saying is we need to have a plan of what these specific subcommittees would do.
Well-
Like one subcommittee would look at any kind of funding, private or government funding.
I would be careful to call them a subcommittee. Okay, so maybe your plan is, and, different ways of wording it, but, that would be, but that you create an opportunity for, people to come in and to talk with you about it. But before you get the community at large, I would gather a lot of information, because like with Cayucas, like maybe going to the Cambria Community Council, looking at what kind of money they might have. Give me your plan, and then we can bring it here so that we can have it on an agenda, so that people will know that we're gonna come and talk about it here.
okay.
Yeah, and this conversation is similar to what,
The,
pros,
yes,
we have an agenda review about where the role of a subcommittee and an ad hoc is when it
Right.
comes to fundraising.
Right.
That's where the CCSD, the subcommittee and the ad hoc actually has to step out of that zone.
Yeah.
Because as a district, we can't fundraise,
Right.
and we typically don't go to 501(c)(3)s and say, we need you to raise money for the Vets Hall, which is a district owned property. So I think what Chairman Scott is saying is that those 501(c)(3)s could come to us and say, like the Lions Club, and say, hey, we would like to invest or subsidize, some of these things. I think looking for grants is a great idea. I think, going backwards, and you can dig up some of, our CIP lists on the various different upgrades that we would need. I think connecting with those, like basically doing research, connecting with those that worked on the Cayucas Vets Hall is a great idea. And we would, staff can connect with you in terms of what we're looking at in terms of grants. But I think it's a sketchy area when we start talking about looking for private monies, right? Because as a district that's tax funded and government owned, we really don't go that direction. They can come to us, right? A public-private partnership where they donate monies to the district, that can be done. We've seen the similar model with the skate park where they raised a large amount of money. We came up with a little bit of money and a grant.
So with, that was with Cambria Community Council.
Okay, so our homework then is to make up a list of the people that we would talk to, or actually physically go out and talk to all of these people?
You can go talk to people, the two of you, or individually.
I think that's the issue.
That's the issue, because there's so many people that need to be talked to about all of this, that is beyond the scope of what.
Well, just start. It's one of those things that you may, the first person you talk to may say, I have this for you, or whatever.
How do you eat a whale? One bite at a time.
Yes, yes.
Is it, Matthew, is there a person most knowledgeable at the county about the Cayucas project that, some kind of county official that oversaw that? If
I can reach out. I mean, we have some pretty clear lines of communication with Bruce Gibson's office. And I know Bruce was involved in that project, so I can reach out to him and get more information on the history of that. But it is a different situation, because it was in a county area with county monies, and they were able to put a lot of money towards that, where us as a special district, we're just on an island,
Yeah, and call them. Call the Cayucas people and see what's going on. See if they have somebody that you could talk to, or.
And the next thing is if you come up with a list of questions and ideas of what you would want to ask these community members, I'm sure there's some type of a survey or an email blast or a web page they can land on at the district level. It's going to take some work for us to do. So, as you flesh that piece out, we can figure out if there's a way to send out survey or a blast out for community input. We also could tie it into the strategic plan later on, when we do our strategic plan
Updates.
until we meet again, right? As a
Yeah.
board for strategic planning, and that'll occur next year. So it'll be a process as we get there, but that's an opportunity as well.
Yeah. See, my fear is to start down the path and start chasing something, only to have the board of supervisors say, oh no, we don't want that to be an emergency response facility. Or whatever we come up, just using that as an example, and I don't know that you wouldn't, but
Yeah.
that just
You
as an
mean
example.
Board of directors.
Board of
Board of
directors.
directors, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Well, that's because what you have to do is you have to do the research. And not do the research of how to do this and everything, just to give ideas. And once we have something that would be action oriented, we can put it on the agenda for the finance committee.
Okay,
Valid concern.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of ad hocs and subcommittees do a bunch of work,
and
and it could go to the board, and the board's like,
Yeah,
now that we never planned on you doing that.
yeah, that's why you wanna bring it here first. Because then, as the chair, I can sell it to the board. Okay,
So as of now, no monies are slotted for infrastructure.
Actually, we budgeted around $60,000 for repairs to the vets hall.
Okay.
And I'm going before the tourism board October 14th, I believe. Because I applied for another $60,000 there for a total of 120, that will hopefully address our floors, some painting, kitchen. So we're working on it.
Okay.
But that actually budgeted us into a deficit. You know, we pulled that out of reserves
Yeah,
to make it happen. It's not within the budget to do, but it's our first step forward in addressing some of these things.
because it seems to me in order to generate income, not make this a preparedness, if in an emergency, everybody comes to that hall, because we're not gonna find people to come in. In order to generate income, we need to, you know, do more than putting lipstick on a pig, which kind of feels like this is what it seems like now. There's so many things that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally one of the only things within the general fund that generate revenue. With that said,
It could be really hard to generate enough revenue. I don't care what we do to the facility to cover the costs it takes to run this building, so,
Hence the need to get grants and
yeah.
government subsidies.
But even without the renovation of it, just to cover the maintenance costs, what it costs staff time to get it ready for an event and everything else, we can't charge the community enough to.
It'll always operate in the red.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see us being able to charge, like make, I mean, it's rented almost every weekend.
So what, for instance, this wood carver show this weekend, what are they paying for that? Just a
I don't know off the top of my head.
it's,
$500, 1,000, 5,000?
is it indoors?
Yeah. So it's just kind of a regular.
I'm gonna
event.
ballpark it at,
It depends what they're renting, the
Yeah.
different charge, but then also if they're like, I think we have special rates for,
well, if they're doing the main
Nonprofit.
hall,
Yeah.
yeah, there's nonprofit rates, if they're doing the main hall, if they have this room, but I mean, it could be anywhere
or the
between
kitchen, like we have the add-on.
$300 and $400. You know, which
Up to that, I think 1,000 is probably the most.
that's probably the most I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, for a single day event, you know, the Follies were here for weeks, you know, and paid a significant amount more. But when we talk about electricity, heating, I mean, cleanup, it's always a money loser. So we're trying to do a rate study to update some of our fees. But until this building gets incredibly more efficient and, our staff is able to manage it, it will be a kind of a money pit, you know. But
And if you have questions about, for instance, how much does Jocelyn Center charge? Get a list of their fees,
Yeah.
you know, so,
That's the light lift.
what, pardon?
That's the light lift. That's a phone
That's
call.
the easy part.
Well, but that's what ad hocs do. They be careful to not, go beyond what your charge is. And that is to bring a plan about, what do we need to put on the agenda? What kind of information do you need for the agenda? I mean, those kind of things. So
Okay.
you guys are trying to do too good of a job.
We're trying to enlist help.
I know, yes. Yes,
It seems to me that talking to Gibson or Gibson's chief of staff could produce a lot of information, at least about the Cayucas experience.
yeah,
I mean, I don't totally agree that the county doesn't have some interest in this. I mean, if, you know, if this facility was a better money maker and brought more people into the community, the county benefits from that
That's
too.
true.
Now, if you say if we're gonna take business away from Cayucas, I don't
or
know.
Jocelyn.
That's Jocelyn is the issue. Yeah. Okay,
Well, Jocelyn, it seems that like it's operating pretty much at capacity already.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my impression. I mean, if you're doing an event at the Jocelyn Center and you're supposed to be out at 1:30, they want you out at 1:30
Yeah.
because somebody else is there to take your place.
yeah. And I'm the treasurer for the corral. And we go every Tuesday morning. So we all have to be members of Jocelyn Center to be able to be part of corral. And then we do give them at the end of the year, a lump sum, not a lot of money. Between 300 and 500 for the year. But they'll take whatever we give them. Do you have any, are you more clear or not?
well, I'm relatively, but But, I think we will work on a plan, but it won't have any meat on the bones until we present it to you,
Mhm.
basically.
And then the next step is to put things on the agenda for this committee.
Yeah.
And then you can get all kinds of people coming and giving you information. I mean, it would be probably a long meeting again.
That would be good.
Yeah,
That would be good.
okay, all right.
Thank
Any
you.
public, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any public comment online? No. Oh, I should know if there's a hand raised, right? Jeez. Okay, you need to tell Deborah to stop asking. It's the board, it's my board thing. Okay, let's go to public comment. Do we have any public comment online? No. Okay. Go to the consent agenda. This is the special meeting minutes. Are there any edits? Any additions, deletions, or edits? No?
I'm happy.
Okay, nobody else?
Will we accept the minutes as written?
Second.
Yeah. Let me ask, is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Nope. No. Okay, yes, could I have a motion, please?
Move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No, I'm not opposed, but I think I should abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
Did you listen to our
I
meeting?
did.
Then you're good.
Okay, aye.
Okay. Now we have a presentation and, thank you Optimized Investment Partners for being so patient with us. And, welcome. This is, Mr.
Mikulik, Robert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear the inner workings of some of our wonderful clients. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to meet with you today. We have been partnering with Matthew and Denise and the rest of the district for a little bit more than 2 years now. We absolutely love working with Denise and Matthew. They are our ideal clients. So wanted to give them a shameless plug for just making our life so much easier. We definitely, spend a lot of time working with agencies throughout California, and Cambria has a very good structure in place. So we appreciate the partnership. I'm going to do less of the talking initially here. I'm going to have our marketing professional, Brittany, share some information. When Denise had reached out and let us know that you had some new members of the finance committee that might benefit from a little bit of an overview of what we're all about. So we'll try to keep it, not terribly technical. Feel free to ask questions along the way. And then I'll get into some color about your existing portfolio after Brittany kind of gives you a little bit of the educational component. So with that being said, if Haley, could you promote Brittany to a presenter if you didn't have a chance to do that already?
I'll promote her again. She
Okay.
declined it.
You've been promoted
Sounds
twice
like
today, Brittany.
secretary.
There you go. Great. And she'll go ahead and share her screen. But before we do that, I'll let Brittany do a quick intro. Again, my name's Robert. I'm the COO. It's just a fancy title for saying I need to make sure everything's moving in the right direction every day, and that we're taking great care of our existing and future clients. So with that, Brittany, if you want to give a brief intro and then carry through the presentation, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. My name is Brittany, and as marketing director, it's my wonderful job to research the public agencies that we can help the most and deliver these presentations. At this point in time, I'm going to share my screen. Will you please confirm that you can see that?
Yeah, yes.
Fantastic. Okay. All right, so in this presentation, we will discuss a few key topics. First, we'll explain the investment requirements set by the government code and your investment policy. Then we'll discuss industry best practices and what sets OIP apart. And third, we'll show you how our results have impacted the district. Feel free to ask questions along the way. So first up is public agency investment requirements. The California Government Code has specific rules that we're all supposed to follow as fiduciaries, like the prudent person standard, meaning we must look out for the public dollar first and foremost. So OIP puts your interests before our own, and it's really about the safety of principle. So I won't go through each of these types of investments in detail, but the biggest question that boards usually have is how do we make sure the money is safe? So we focus on investments that are fully backed by the faith of the federal government, that have implied backing of the federal government, are covered by FDIC insurance, or that are fully collateralized like LAIF. The yeses listed here are what we recommend to utilize since these have the lowest levels of risk.
Yeah, and for the finance committee and staff's edification, when we first met with the district, this was a big change, right? Moving from, a more, typical strategy that we see with a lot of agencies in the state, which is to keep, a significant portion of your funds just in either fully liquid accounts, something like LAIF, or checking accounts or savings accounts. So whenever we partner with a new client, we want to be ultra conservative and get the district, the city, the special districts, whoever it might be that we're working with, very comfortable with our strategies before introducing other investment options. So we're at a point now where in the coming months, we'll be partnering with Matthew and Denise to talk about expanding some of the investment options that are on your screen here that may make sense for the district. We, of course, want to do that in a partnership fashion. We definitely don't want to, go far out on the risk spectrum. As Brittany said, everything on the screen here is allowable under the government code, but it doesn't mean that it might be appropriate for your specific district. We want to make sure we're tailoring our investment policy recommendations and modifications for what best suits your district. And that's a long way of me saying at some point, later this year, we'll make a recommendation to introduce probably about 2 or 3 other options if the district is open to exploring that. One good option there on the screen is medium-term notes. So what does that mean? That's really saying if we looked at where interest rates are headed, and we don't speculate, we have a very strong indication in the marketplace that later this week, the government will be making some decisions that will lower interest rates. We want to have some additional options on the table in the near future. As your existing investments mature, could we introduce a few options that might give you a little bit better yield than what will be available at the top of the most conservative investment options, which are your existing US Treasuries, things like CDs. But again, you want to do that in collaboration with the district. So there'll be some more information we'll be sharing on that soon, but just wanted to give you a little bit of color that each year we're going to be looking at your investment policy and potentially making recommendations to introduce some additional investment options. So thank you, Brittany. I just wanted to add a little bit on that slide.
My pleasure. All right. Any questions on this slide?
Nope, we don't see any.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so next up, at OIP, we provide end-to-end support to help municipalities manage their investments responsibly, strategically, and in full compliance with public fund standards. Our services include investment policy review and adoption, where we conduct annual reviews of your investment policy and recommend updates to keep you aligned with evolving regulations and market trends. Next is regulatory compliance, where we ensure your investments maintain compliant with all applicable government codes and that every decision is vetted against the strict public fund requirements. And next is cash flow modeling and laddering. Our team performs a detailed historical cash analysis, builds a robust cash flow model, and provides monthly updates to support strategic long-term planning. We also provide education and training like this Investments 101 and ongoing support to empower your staff with the essential investment knowledge. And next is liquidity management, where we actively manage liquid funds to maximize returns while maintaining the liquidity needed for daily operations. And next is transparent quarterly reporting. Our clear and concise reports, including board agenda items and staff reports, keep all stakeholders informed about portfolio performance. Together, these services form a complete investment management solution, and with our deep municipal expertise, we offer valuable insights on broader municipal issues as well. So this slide compares typical municipal strategies to OIP's approach. Most small to medium-sized districts use passive investing, which is safe, but exposes the district to interest rate risk and uncertain returns. Active strategies add variety, but often overlook municipal needs. This is where OIP goes further, building on the California Municipal Treasurers Association's best practices. We've tailored our portfolio using a custom cash flow model and dynamic cash management to create an optimized laddering strategy that improves safety. It's more work, but it delivers better service and stronger investment results. Now I'll highlight the 3 core advantages that directly benefits your district's financial performance. First, active management is at the heart of what we do. We developed a tailored investment strategy based on the district's unique cash flow needs. Next is budgetary resiliency, which gives the district the financial stability for long-term planning. Our optimized laddering strategy locks in the best available rates while keeping your funds productive until they're needed. And lastly, reducing interest rate risk protects your portfolio from market volatility. Liquid investments are highly sensitive to market fluctuations, which can create uncertainty in your returns. By locking in rates with appropriate investment tools and strategic time horizons, we can provide you with guaranteed returns, removing the guesswork from your investment income. So while other municipalities that are passive and liquid may need to adjust their interest income budgets downward as rates decline, your district has predictable and guaranteed income streams for years to come. I see a hand raised in the room, in the Zoom room.
Yes, Brittany, I was just wondering, we talked about what investments are, allowed and appropriate.
Is that
You're
Scott?
making reference to, how you lock things in. Or do you lock them in? Are you allowed to use any hedging vehicles to lock in rates, or do you just do it with, kind of considering yield to maturity and duration?
Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. So not so much from a hedging standpoint. It really
Just let me interrupt real quickly.
Sure.
Scott, you don't get to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I could ask questions. My apologies.
I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm sure the question is gonna get answered, but I had to shush you.
No problem. Would you like
Okay.
me, Chairperson, would you like me to expand our presentation to cover that aspect of the
Yes.
investment question?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
Okay, great. Yeah, so what it boils down to is in our strategy, we look at what are the best yielding options that don't introduce unnecessary risk into the investment strategy at any point in time. And then we match those maturities to when the district needs funds the most. So we know by building a comprehensive cash flow model, we know when the district will have a surplus of funds and when they will be at their low point. So we try to time the maturities, those options that are giving us the best yield to maturity, to mature when the district needs funds. Then when they have surplus funds, we just kind of continue the cycle of reinvesting those surplus funds out on the timeline horizon up to the 5 years that you're allowed to do under the California government code. And it's just this ever cycling laddering strategy where you keep reinvesting with the best rates possible. So it's really, you kind of get the best of both worlds, because once you get locked in at, X yield, if interest rates go down, we'll reevaluate when those maturities come due. If they go up, your continual maturing investment opportunities will present themselves where you can reinvest at those higher rates. So it's locking it in for a period of time that makes sense based on the budgetary needs of the district. And then we leverage the highest yielding options at each of those intervals of time. So hopefully that answers that question.
But he didn't have a question yet.
All right, yeah.
Yes, now we have someone who may answer.
So are you saying that there is no surplus that can be invested for long-term?
No. So what we look at the entire cash situation for the district.
Mhm.
We run that through our cash flow model, and then that model will tell us how much money can we lock up for, let's say, 6 months to that 5-year timeline horizon, and that's considered your long-term investment strategy. Then you have a short-term investment strategy that is more of your day-to-day liquidity needs, a buffer that looks at what are your potential CIP projects, and those two components together make up the overall investment strategy. But you always have a surplus that's in your short-term investment strategy. And today for the district, that's the money that the district has in their camp account plus their operational checking and money market account. So we know we never want to leave Denise or Matthew with just enough, because we know things come up. We know there could be modifications to the budget, projects could run over, unknown expenses, repairs, etc. That is dealt with in the short-term portfolio. So we always ensure they have plenty of liquidity in those short-term components, because we never want to be in a situation where we have to sell investments in the long-term strategy prior to maturity. So that's why we take a lot of time and we digest a lot of information from the district to truly understand what you've needed historically, look at your current budget for what you're going to need now, and then make those recommendations to ensure they always have enough liquidity at any moment's notice.
They've done a really good job to make sure I don't bounce any checks.
Well, I was just wondering if we know that 20% of our budget is a long-term investment, how that's dealt with. And what I hear you saying is that it can't be invested for a longer than a 5-year period.
Well, you can't.
In one fund.
Well, it's just the way that the rules under the California government code just say you can't tie up the monies. So what's typically referred to as surplus funds for an agency, you can't tie that up for more than 5 years. So it wouldn't be appropriate for us or allowed under the government code to, let's say, make a recommendation to Matthew and Denise and say, we'd like you to go buy a 10-year treasury. That's not allowed. I mean, unfortunately, we've seen some scenarios with agencies in the state that haven't followed their own investment policy or don't have an effective investment policy. So for all intents and purposes, we just always have to make sure when it makes sense to go out a full 5 years, we never exceed 5 years.
And are you looking into tax exempt funds?
They're in the equation, but for the most part, for what we're doing and what we typically recommend, we find that the best options are typically treasuries, CDs, things of that will provide enough yield that wouldn't warrant us deviating from that strategy. But yeah, I mean, that is an option that is on the table, but for the district and where their current yield is. So right now, the what we call the yield to maturity. So that's if you take all of the investments that are in play right now outside of your liquid portfolio, the district's yield to maturity is 4.78, which is extremely competitive in this day and age. If we were to try to do what we did 2 years ago for the district, it would be very difficult to be even close to 4% right now. So the fact that the district got locked in, and again, that just has to do with where the markets were at. It wasn't something that we had a crystal ball and, you know, had some magic tools or ability to do something. But the point is, locking in those rates when we did was very advantageous because rates have continued to drop over the last year or so, and they're expected to continue to drop in the near future. So it's just balancing what's available at any point in time, making the best recommendations to the district, and then strengthening that laddered portfolio over time.
Yes,
Question,
yes.
the 4.78, I assume that's gross. Do you also give us the number that's net of fees, or is that net of fees?
That is gross, and we can give you the net. We can absolutely provide that information.
Well, and those fees are not specific to each investment account. It's that you charge a certain fee
Correct.
to us.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I guess my point is that, you know, that's a very good return. I agree with him, but it isn't, our actual return is a little less than that back to the fees in. So
Correct.
just curious what the difference is.
Well, what,
Most banks show you, or most investment statements you see it, or at least some of them have both net of fees and gross.
so tell the committee how much you charge us.
Yeah, so on average for the assets under management for your district, we manage about $16.6 million of assets under management. Our fee it fluctuates. It's somewhere between probably about $1,650 a month to about $1,750 a month. What it's based on is what are the actual account balances at the end of each month, and we bill based on that information. So that's a typical structure for an investment advisor.
And what's that percentage?
Well, it's based on basis points. So for an
Okay.
agency of your size, we charge 25 basis points on the first $3 million, and then we charge 10 basis points on the remaining balance.
So for fiscal year 24-25, which is the last 4 lines of
Yeah.
that chart.
Yep.
We paid our investment partners approximately $21,000
Okay.
out of the over $400,000 that we earned.
Thank you.
And so over the course of, what is this? It's about 2 years, right? Two full, 3/4 and a full year. So a year and 3/4, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
District earnings at almost 750,000. I think before we were averaging about
$750.
$80 or $90,000 a year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, but we had
You're
just
correct.
thrown it, we had so much money in checking that was earning like
1%.
0.5%, and then we had another
Right.
amount in Leif that was like 3, 2. I mean, we were making literally nothing.
Yeah.
And Denise came in, started taking a look at this and brought it up to me. Denise, brought it up to me and said, you really should start looking at this, and that is the result, $750,000 2 years later.
Good job, go ahead.
So it was a huge shift fundamentally in our philosophy as a district, and it's self-implemented. So a small price to pay, the 21,000.
And when, I mean, OIP, I can't remember, you guys may have come to us, but we did do research on
Other firms.
other firms and investment advisors and all this, and the service that they provide was just,
And a lot of these other
Well,
firms didn't want to mess with a small district.
no, there was quite a few that wouldn't even talk to us because they don't. And so that is also a benefit of them is they specialize in districts that are our size. And I don't know, Robert, you can give a little background on how you guys started. I think it's kind of great, but they have a lot of experience and they specialize in helping districts our size maximize their returns in their investments.
Yeah, no, we appreciate the kind words. Our CEO spent 20+ years as finance director, finance manager for cities throughout Southern California. So his most recent stop prior to forming this company was with the city of Chula Vista, where he was managing over a portfolio of over $400 million. The city was utilizing the services of the largest investment advisor in this industry. And what he found was they weren't optimizing their returns, no pun intended, but they were saying, well, we're only going to look at your long-term portfolio. We're not going to look at your short-term component that one of the one of the finance committee members just asked me a question about. They said, well, you kind of deal with that. We're just going to manage this part. Well, what ended up happening was they were leaving millions of dollars on the table because they were only interested in part of the puzzle. So he took a holistic approach and said, why aren't we managing the entire, umbrella, the whole strategy? And he was able to improve the returns for the city by, a significant amount. And that's kind of the light bulb moment that went off where he said, well, if this is the biggest player in the industry and they represent, a large number of municipalities in California, how many other agencies out there aren't getting the level of service they deserve? And how many can't even work with these type of agencies because they don't have a large enough cash balance? So that's when he decided to leave the city, put together this company, and really provide a value-added services for smaller to mid-size agencies. And what you have here on the screen is the result of those conversations. And Brittany, I don't want to steal your thunder, but if you want to cover what we're showing here on the screen, I think it's a great success story, and it speaks to what Denise was just covering with the committee.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. You did not steal my thunder. It's okay. And I would love it if Matthew and Denise joined our marketing team for that great intro. This is a list of our updated clients. We've grown a lot since we've earned the business of Cambria CSD, and we deeply appreciate your continued support and look forward to contributing to the district's ongoing success. So yeah, I can give you a moment to review this list, and if you have any questions or feedback, there are several in your area as well.
Yeah, so when we first started partnering with your district, you were one of our initial clients, and that's very important for that. We don't forget the districts that didn't know a whole lot about who we were and gave us an opportunity to prove our value. So Cambria has a very special place with us, not only because of the great partnership we get from Matthew and Denise, but we've had phenomenal growth, and we continue to be able to leverage those relationships. Denise actually put us in contact with the Port San Luis Harbor District. She had a connection over there. They're looking to bring us on board. And it's through the partnerships and the relationships that we're building up through the state where we know the power of word of mouth is so important. It's a lot more impactful when the Denises and Matthews of the world can reach out to a partner at another municipality and say, hey, hear these guys out. They're doing something good. They're adding value to our district. And that's the result of what you see here on the screen. That's where a lot of our growth is coming from is from partners like Denise and Matthew. So we're very grateful for the opportunities that have been given to us from the district, and we look forward to continuing to enhance the relationship in the future.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, in my house, the key word for my wife is making sure our investment folks are also our fiduciaries. Are you our fiduciary for us as well? Does that work in your world?
Yes, we are. We legally have to put your interest ahead of our own. That is a very important concept, and we don't take that very lightly. We need to make sure that anything we're recommending to the district is absolutely in your best interest first.
Okay, thank you.
Great point.
Any other questions? Yes, one more question.
Just curiosity, Matthew, if you know, I mean, so, you know, you annualize this, it's what, about 370,000 or something. What percentage of our gross revenue would that be?
Percentage of gross revenue for
All sources.
ooh, we have to crunch some numbers on that because it's all of our different, so it's
That's
the general
okay.
fund, enterprise fund,
That's all right.
and that's all split between, so.
But
these
it's a
invest-
huge improvement over what it was just 2 years ago. Now, does the public know that?
We tried to.
Everybody that's listening.
Yeah, and Denise does a good job of taking those investment returns and putting them back into the pots of money in which they came. So, and then we have to do that by law. So any enterprise funds, ratepayer funds that are invested, it goes back to those
Utilities.
funds, utility funds, and the same with the general fund. So
And
again, go ahead.
And we do quarterly reports to
Mhm.
the board, so that's public information there, but
And Optimize Investment Partners provides us with quarterly reports that are also given to the board. So
are they on the web?
yeah, they're part of the agenda. So yes, the information is out there.
Have you ever mentioned this in your regular letters to?
I've mentioned it a couple times, especially when it got heated with some public comment in regards to what we were really pulling in and some disagreement, because there's we have several accountants that live in the community. Self-proclaimed accountants that will do their own math, and so I had to walk that down a little bit with them individually, and then I put it out there. And then we talk about it quite a bit during our quarterly budget updates. So we try to put it out there as much as possible.
But he probably will do it in his next letter.
Okay.
And he, I mean, and Matthew regularly is singing praises for this whole thing. So, I mean, maybe not as much anymore since we've been doing it for almost 2 years, but yes, it has been put out there, and some, there's questions about it.
But you know, OPI,
OIP.
Robert, and they do a great job of coming to board meetings and things like this where they talk about it. When questions are brought up, we bring them in and do presentations to the board. So the board's been pretty well informed over the last couple of years on how we're doing it, how they are being our fiduciary and making sure that they're treating the district's funds in our best interest, and they've proven that. Yeah, so I can keep updating the public with the letters that are now dropping to one time also. My recent performance evaluation, we decided to only do it one time a month. And so we'll keep the community updated.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, Brittany, we've been interrupting you all over the place.
No problem. We've covered a lot today, so we really appreciate your time. On the screen are common questions that we typically hear, and if there are no more questions, that is the end of our presentation.
Any more questions? No? Okay, how about public comment?
It's not Michelle.
Okay, so no other people online have questions. So thank you so very much for coming. We truly appreciate both Brittany and Robert You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
We appreciate the partnership and have a great rest of your day. You guys take care.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
Bye.
Any other discussion or comments or questions from the community?
Just for my own clarification, how, what percentage of the profit goes back into the budget? Is that,
That's, so. I would, so
Or
it's
is
an
that
interesting
more
question.
expensive?
Yeah, it's a complex question because this is a new strategy for us. So I would say when we first started with them, I just kept the income, the interest income is a line item on the budget. And I kept it at very low levels because I didn't know how it would perform. I would say that I did increase it for the 25-26 budget. I'm not increasing it to the rates that we have seen.
Right.
I'm a little bit more conservative in my budgeting, so I keep it lower. We can use that money that I'm budgeting for interest income to, we use it as part of the picture of what we can spend. So in that way, yes, it is part of the budget. I would say I'm really conservative. So, this in, the year just ended 24-25, we made a lot more than I had budgeted for,
Right.
so a lot more. So that's why you did see some of the net incomes for the different funds higher than we were predicting, was mainly to the increased earnings of interest. So I think as we continue on with this strategy, that's going to be a question for the general manager and myself of how do we want to do this? Do we want to just budget a certain amount because we want to keep building our reserves and being a little more conservative in our strategy? And then ultimately, those discussions come before the board in the form of the budget, and they can have those discussions at that level and instruct us if they want us to do something differently. So, yes, so it's a little, it's complicated, but.
Yeah, and anecdotally, I'll say, so if you watch the last board meeting, we spent $1.1 million on a brand new engine cash. So it dropped our reserves down. So I think conversation with Denise and I will be, okay, let's move some of these returns back into the general fund and start and building that up. The same thing with our enterprise funds. So the Stewart Street tanks, same thing. We pulled $2 million out of reserves to start the Stewart Street tank construction. So those reserves have dipped. So we'll talk about the enterprise monies that are being invested, and those returns could be,
Yes.
you could be moving those back into reserves.
I think one of the reasons we felt comfortable saying, we can either, lease, you finance the fire engine or pay is because we had about $500,000 of earnings, interest earnings in 24-25 that we didn't budget for. And so that is helping to pay. But those are also things I have to communicate with our investment partners to say, hey, I'm gonna be taking $1 million of cash out. And they'll probably roll their eyes. But, yes, so I will I communicate any like large cash, expenditures and stuff, because as Robert explained, they're constantly looking at our cash balances and the best way for us to maximize returns.
so you don't allocate to certain areas, you just keep it in a reserve and use it as needed?
No, we
Correct.
allocate the interest earnings to, so the cash is actually all pooled together in an account, so, but I do keep track of how much belongs to each fund. And so when we do every quarter, the interest earnings that come in, I do allocate it out to, and they actually aren't coming, most of them are not coming into our fund, right? They're sitting in our investment fund, but I do allocate it out based upon allocation of reserves, how much belongs to water, how much belongs to wastewater, the WRF or general fund. General fund is just all of us together, fire, F&R, it's just one general fund reserves.
So in other words, if the reserves for water and wastewater earn interest, she shows that was their earning.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it as a percentage of
Right.
the whole.
Right.
So it's not an exact science because it is all together, the actual cash is all together, but. You know, basically you know, and I'm just gonna throw out numbers here, but if water is 60% of our. Reserve balance, then they're gonna get 60% of the earnings.
And that money can only be used for that purpose. Like you can't say they don't need it, but fire
You
does need it.
you cannot commingle general fund and enterprise funds. So the enterprise funds, none of that money can come to the general fund to be used. The general fund can loan the enterprise fund money, which we have done before, and then the enterprise, we set up a whole agreement and the enterprise can pay us back, but we cannot give general fund money to the enterprise funds. Now, I do think water and wastewater could probably, I don't think there's any legal requirement that they don't use each other. They're all of our enterprise funds. That has
Right.
never happened before. So we could probably set up a similar agreement and stuff, but the real clear law is about keeping the general fund and enterprise fund separate.
Got it.
So, no, and that comes up quite often when we talk about, oh, well, you're gonna spend $1 million on a fire engine, what, you know, what if something happens in water, or vice versa, we have all this money sitting in enterprise, why can't we use it to fund Fiscalini Ranch or
Yeah.
whatever?
Because
And
legally you can't.
legally, we cannot do that, and also as the reserves are one-time funds, what I would call one-time funding, right? Our income that we get every year is what I budget yearly. It's consistent. It's dangerous to budget operating expenditures with one-time funds. They're there for these long-term, you know, maintenance
Mhm.
expenditures, and so, to budget for salaries and wages, let's say, because if that money runs out or we don't get it anymore, then we don't have that funding source. Property taxes is, you know,
Constant.
yes.
Yeah.
But you have started to use some of this income on a conservative basis in your budgeting process.
Yeah, they always had, a small amount of interest income, I would say. We do not budget all of it, but yes.
We just have more now. because
Yes.
we love more money.
Yes.
Is this gonna go to the board? Because if not, I think it should.
The presentation itself,
Yeah.
they've had a very similar presentation before.
Yeah, I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it, but I'll
Well, you
keep
could,
digging.
couldn't you just send it to the board?
Yeah, it's a public record.
Yeah.
It's a part of this meeting, so the
So
board.
this will be part of the record of this meeting.
It is.
Yes.
I
And
think,
the board could always instruct us to
Yeah.
have a similar,
Yeah,
I did market this meeting to the public at the board
Yes.
quite a few times.
Yes, you did.
No
no
one
one
attended,
showed up.
but.
Yeah, wait.
We should have had it at the
Yes,
last.
one person attended. Well,
At the start.
Yeah,
yeah, Scott is a board member and Rochelle is a, district employee, so I would say no community members showed up.
I think if you made this available to the public, it begs the question, okay, what's happening with all this interest income? So there would need to be some kind of explanation about where that money is going and how it's helping. If you follow me.
I would argue that conversation has happened at the budget meeting. You know, so we do talk about this quite a bit in
Yeah.
terms of here are investment returns, it goes back into
I'm
reserve.
talking about the general public. So if you're gonna make this available to the general public,
it's available.
But the only way for us to communicate with the general
Uh-huh.
public is through a board meeting.
Right.
Which,
Yeah.
so they, I mean,
Yeah.
we can't, I mean, and
Got
Matthew sends out
Got
his emails, but they
Mhm.
have to read the emails.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's saying, is we have talked about it, so
Okay.
people who want to hear it are hearing it.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult for us to reach people in the community who just aren't interested or don't want to hear it.
Matthew's got a bunch of guys now that knows how to knock on doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
but only a specific amount of coverage.
Yes.
They need breaks.
Yeah, I think, before I ever got on a committee or before I ever ran for the board of directors, I listened into board meetings.
Mhm.
And people need to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about, when you go on, social media, is that many times what's said in social media is not based on fact.
Mhm.
And it's really hard. It's hard for my heart,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, it happens everywhere, you know, everybody wants the transparency piece, but they're like, well, I really don't want to go to a board meeting.
Yeah.
You know, and then we even have from a staff level, you know, when we have conversations for negotiations, whether it be the fire department or our SEIU folks, you know, when we start negotiating salaries and benefits, and I'm like, well, you know, this is where we are financially, and they're like, well, didn't you give all these people raises? And I'm like, no, you know, and they're like, well, what about this and this? I go, have you ever watched our board meeting? You know, and they're like, well, no, I don't have time for that. I'm like,
Well,
you should really start watching a board meeting, because we talked about this agenda item and why we did this, and we eliminated this position, we created cost savings here. And so we actually had a movement within the fire department that they started attending finance committee meetings, they're going to resources and infrastructure, they're going to pros, because now they want to be tapped into what's going on at the district level. So it happens from the staff level and it happens from the public level where, you know, they're just not attending the meetings, you know, or reading the agenda packets.
Well, I
send
for
out a
one
rate increase
appreciate
with the
Karen
mail.
Yeah.
responding on next door when things are starting to go sideways.
yeah. Yeah, I try to be really, and Karen, don't just nod your head. We both try to clarify things, but the minute that you try to clarify things, then people start arguing with you. So we were really careful about what we say online. And then the other thing is I get emails, the board gets emails, and I do a short response. And then I always copy Matthew so that he can then really tell them exactly what they
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's the rule? I have known this, but I don't know it. What's the rule about your ability to respond to public comment in a meeting?
It's a
Because
very good
sometimes the
question.
response is, thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah,
It depends. Yeah.
The Brown Act doesn't allow for the back and forth piece of it. If there's a brief, short response, the board can direct myself or staff to respond, or the board can choose whether or not to respond, but so it's like a very fine line. You can have a small amount of a response, but then if you start getting into the board, the back and forth, then that public comment often is not agendized, and then you're violating the Brown Act, now you're having a discussion about something that's not agendized, so it's a fine line of brief, short response, which
Maybe a clarification.
And the board will ping myself or staff for that, or they'll provide it, and then sometimes some of the public comments are so long and definitely a conversation that can't be had at the meeting, that you'll see President Scott say, thank you for your comments. And we move on.
and I wonder if, because I have listened in on some meetings where people will ask a question.
Mhm.
And the response is thank you. I think possibly the response should be, we'll get back to you on that. We don't have that information right now. But when I hear thank you to a question and then moving on, I feel like that person's being dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and
Let's guess who it
sometimes,
is.
sometimes what that person is saying is so off base that if I said anything other than thank you, it would be an uproar and an argument. And so that's why being president is, and I didn't know this before, is really, it's really 6 hours or 5 hours of being on and trying to decide what should I say and what shouldn't I say and how should I say it. So, yeah, and if I just say thank you, the response would be way too complicated to do in that setting, and it would be illegal.
Mhm.
Yes,
We're
we're
just-
instructed, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Because it's not on the agenda.
Right.
I mean, the attorney does guide.
Yeah, he
as well
listens
as
every
then
minute.
Matthew may take that and answer it in his email, because that's his avenue.
Or he gives them his card after.
And
at the
says, come
break.
talk to me, or
Yeah.
he has his monthly
Yeah.
meetings here where people can come and have that dialogue with him and get the hour if they so
Or-
choose
right.
to sit with him and talk about it.
I
you know?
guess what I'm trying to convey is that they're asking a question,
Mhm.
will it be answered?
Well, to the board's credit, they do a good job of some of those questions being directed at me, and I say, I'll address that in my GM letter that'll go out this weekend. So that happens quite a bit. There's only a few questions, at least from my interpretation, there's only been a few questions that have been asked at the board level where they're just told thank you and we move on. And typically, either A, that question's already been addressed several times, or it's off base and will turn into a discussion. But like, Denise said, I'll hand out my card, I'll address it in a GM letter.
Mhm.
But I don't see that as being,
It's not, we're not dismissing
Yeah.
them.
Because I always imagine it's not a question you're prepared to answer on the spot. You know, it takes research and.
Personally,
getting
for
back.
me, I don't like to answer questions about actual dollar amount
Uh-huh.
on the
Yeah.
fly,
Yeah,
even if I
of
know
course.
something on top of my head.
Of
So
course.
I don't get asked to do that often, but I can, and I will say, I'll answer that later. I mean, I do think we answer a lot of questions. But also, just another shameless plug, he does his monthly meetings here where anyone can come talk to him.
He's here so from what time?
about 8 to 7.
8 to 7. Yes.
Well, maybe other than just the thank you, since this does apparently come up with some regularity, you should have your legal counsel give you a little tag to put on that. Our legal counsel has advised us that non-agendized items cannot be addressed, and therefore I cannot legally respond to your question. We recommend that you perhaps discuss this with the general manager, who makes himself available every month to answer your questions, or something like that, if you want to soften it up a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
illegal.
and
You're saying thank you because your lawyer's telling you that's all you can do.
That's one of
So blame him.
Yeah.
Thanking the lawyer.
Yeah. No, I think we can really look at, how we respond and, I appreciate the feedback.
Sometimes too, the questions that are answered don't have a question mark at the tail end of the statement, but they're making a statement.
Most of the time.
Yeah. And that's really not a question.
Yeah, public comment is really not a time to ask a question. Public comment is a time to make a statement. And that's very clearly outlined on every one of our agendas. And I think the most important thing, and maybe we need to remind people of this, and that is that there are these other opportunities for people to come and actually ask questions.
Are you saying your parameters for public comment say that questions are not appropriate?
No, it says that it's a time for a public comment. That doesn't say.
You know, now that you say that, I feel like if it's a general public
Yeah.
comment at the beginning is when we probably
Right.
hear thank you
Yeah.
more often than not.
Yeah.
Because that's a public comment for things that are not on the agenda.
Right.
When people are commenting on something on the
Yeah.
agenda, I feel like, and maybe I'll sit there and take a little tally.
Yeah.
I feel like
We answer it.
President Scott typically will go to the utility manager, myself, or the general manager and say, would you like to answer that? I feel like that happens quite often, so maybe I'll pay attention for you.
Yeah, that'd be great, because there's really two things. There's public comment that we really can't
Uh-huh.
talk about. And then there's agenda item public comment, because we have to ask after every single thing. And I think those are clarified or answered more often.
More often than not, I would say.
Yes,
And I wanted to note that on our actual agendas that are posted online, under public comment, it does say members of the public may now address the board on any item of interest within the jurisdiction of the board, but not on its agenda today. Future agenda items can be suggested at this time. In compliance with the Brown Act, the board cannot discuss or act on items not on the agenda. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes, and then it also goes into how to submit written comment. And that's posted in every single.
every single agenda, yeah. But I hear you, and Denise is gonna keep track.
How many times do we say thank you?
How many times does
Instead of-
President Scott say
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, And so we took public comment and we don't need to vote on this. So let's go to future agenda. We're gonna have ad hoc every single time, so that you don't, it's not specific. But when you get to a point where you want us to have a specific agenda item toward what you're doing, just let me know.
Okay. No, we don't, in October, we don't have a meeting, is that correct?
Yeah, we do.
Do we? Mine says I have a schedule that says that we don't.
Oh, well,
Do
that
we?
would be kind of interesting. What does it say on mine?
We do have one.
We
'cause
do
we'll
have a
the
meeting.
first
We
quarter
canceled
report.
the regular meeting on October 14th and we rescheduled it for October 20th.
Okay,
Okay. That's not on my schedule.
okay,
So we'll have the first quarter report on there.
yeah. And,
The first quarter report won't be part of this, the CCSD meeting.
Yes,
It would
after
be-
it comes to us first in
Okay,
October,
yeah.
and then it'll go
Yeah,
like
so it'll be in part of the November.
November on the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
which is one of the things that, maybe we should do a future agenda item, but the scheduling of the finance committee, we really have to talk about how better to do that next year.
Yes, for all the budget items.
Right.
Yes.
Right, because there have been things that have gone to the board and we should have taken a look at it because it's very helpful. For Denise and Matthew for us to take a look at it before it goes to the board. So I don't know that it's always gonna be, I think we need to figure out how better to schedule our regular meetings. Because in addition, there is concern and I get emails, what the hell, you're canceling another meeting? I really do get emails like that,
Just that.
just like that. Yeah,
Well,
yes,
And with the change in the board
right,
schedule.
right,
For some of these budgeting items, I can't have the information ready as soon
Right.
as our meeting, the finance committee meeting needs, so it might need to be later in the month, so
Yeah.
we can look at it before
Yeah.
it goes to be ready for, cause I mean, things need to be ready for the board around 2 to 3 weeks before.
yeah.
So that we'll have to sit and look at the
Yeah,
calendar in detail.
So that's what's been happening
Mhm.
with the canceled meetings and rescheduling them and that doesn't, it's not good for your schedules. So.
What's the October date again?
The
Helen?
20th.
20th?
At 10 a.m.
And then do we have a November meeting?
Yeah, we have meetings at one.
No, I was.
Oh, did it get
Would like-
changed?
November 17th at 10 a.m. and then December 15th at 10 a.m.
What's the December date?
15th. So I did want to apologize, but I wanted you to know the rationale for why those kind of things happen.
Mhm.
Any other agenda items? Okay, anybody online have an agenda item? Any feedback, public comment on that? No? Yeah, yes? Okay. Do you want me to quit asking you all to be secretary? I can just do,
I thought
can
it was
just,
gonna be Scott since
That was Scott.
we're
Yeah.
appointing him in absentia.
and he's, I'm sure muted because he can't say anything.
Yeah.
So, no, I wouldn't do that because it is, you know, I mean, taking minutes is a responsibility that, doesn't come easy to some people, so. But I'm sure Scott would be perfect in the position.
Okay, so I have a non-Scott question. If I have questions about the September finance information.
I mean, the agenda?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do I need to submit those specific questions in advance? Gotcha.
If you want it to be on the agenda,
So,
like what,
like,
for
we were asking
example?
about specific expenditures, I'm assuming you got that information from a board meeting.
Correct.
Okay, so Because the expenditure report does not come to finance.
No, and the expenditure report, is online. And
Right.
you have a question about that. Okay,
Mhm.
right.
I mean,
You
But I
know,
don't
those
wanna
most
put
be-
you on the
but
spot
those
either.
would be most appropriate at the board meeting, if you can attend the board meeting, because that's when we're discussing it, because we don't actually discuss the
you
expenditure.
can always
report.
ask me questions, no matter what. And if I say, don't ask me these kind of questions, then I will.
Remind.
Or if I need to talk to Denise, I will do that through
Got
Matthew.
it.
It's just a way of communicating within the structure of the district that, that makes things so that we aren't doing a bunch of stuff that we don't have to.
And we do answer questions about the expenditure report
Yeah.
in depth at the board meetings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably the most appropriate place to ask about that.
Yeah.
Or when we meet to do, if you can't come up with an agenda
Yeah.
item today, if you let Deborah know.
Yeah.
We meet to go over the final
Yeah.
agenda probably next week or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And so maybe you could add that question to
Yeah.
the agenda.
Or just ask me, and if I can't answer, then I'll say, I think we should put that on the agenda. Okay? Yes,
Just to follow up, so in the October meeting, will we have budget data to review?
We have the first quarter report, which is activity from July through September.
Right, so we will have that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
anything else?
Which is an interesting report because we've had no income. Everything looks horrible.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
FYI.
Because we don't always get the,
Right.
the.
Property
We don't
taxes.
have our first
Yeah.
billing for utilities,
Oh, wow.
no, or any property taxes.
Broke.
Yeah,
But we'll have a big expenditure, the fire truck, right?
yeah.
Well,
No,
we'll
well,
that
yeah.
won't make it on, I doubt we'll spend, well, maybe in the next 2 weeks, we'll see, I'm meeting with Chief, tomorrow. So, I don't know.
It's ready to buy some.
He was
So we are
really-
making interest.
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
So that's the, yeah.
Well, and
We
if you
have
have,
to manage our cash flow.
and if you have any questions about the process that we went through to make the decision about paying cash, please listen to the board meeting. Because there was a motion that got seconded that failed.
Oh.
And there was a motion that got seconded and the person and the votes changed. So it's a very interesting part. And I think you can find out based on the agenda when that discussion took place, right?
Slow span, yeah.
Yeah, slow span will help you with that. All right. So, I'm getting ready to adjourn. Is everyone, open to my adjourning?
Yes.
Okay, so the time is 11:42. And this meeting is